All right, let's kick started. Yeah. First of all, thanks everyone for attending our virtual presentation today. Hope next time we will be making it in person. So my name is Hatem El Said. I'm the CEO of Advanced Blockchain AG, and together with my colleague Mike Lasker, who is the CFO of the group, we will present you the recent industry update. Where does our company stand and what's coming up for the company this year and in the short and midterm? So yeah, our company name is Advanced Blockchain. So as the name says, our business is in the field of blockchain technology. And usually when you hear the word blockchain, cryptocurrency, or Bitcoin, especially if you are not familiar with this sector, you would hear a lots of buzzwords or complex terms, which I personally found difficult to relate to in my early days in this industry. So long story short, we are here to rather simplify things and not make it more complex than it already is. So yeah, where do we stand as an industry in terms of numbers? As of today, we stand at around $3.1 trillion market cap, with Bitcoin dominance around 60%, meaning that Bitcoin market capitalization alone is contributing to around $1.9 trillion. So the blockchain technology acceptance is growing exactly like internet in the 90s. Like last year, Q4 last year or Q4 in 2024 marked an interesting phase of the market, as for the first time ever, we crossed the $3 trillion market, $3 trillion mark. And this was primarily due to the US presidential elections, which took place in November 2024, and the shift in general in the regulatory environment, reaching an all-time high later on around the end of the year of $3.9 trillion. And this was the first time that we reached such a market cap in the market. In parallel, Bitcoin ETFs witnessed also a net inflow all-time high just one day after Trump's inauguration. So like on the 21st of Jan 2025, in just one single day, we witnessed over 1 billion US dollar from the capital market as an inflow, and that basically flooded into Bitcoin, leading to a net flow lasting for around 4 days afterwards, which underscores an increased interest from institutional investors, but also a remarkable onboarding event of retail investors simultaneously. So as we can see from the numbers, there has been a quite increased interest in the industry. And on the regulatory side, several important events took place, which helped in establishing the momentum for what will come in the next years. So for example, like President Trump signed the Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology executive order on January 23rd, 2025. And this directive basically underscores the new administration's commitment to fostering innovation in digital asset sectors while also safeguarding economic liberty. And the order also ensures that individuals and private entities can lawfully access and utilize open public blockchain networks, engage on software development, mining, and maintaining self-custody of digital assets without undue interference in the US. And complementing the executive branch directives, the SEC, like Securities and Exchange Commission, has undertaken significant measures to align with those pro-innovative stance. So last month, the SEC announced the creation of a dedicated crypto task force led by the Commissioner Hester Pierce. And this task force aims to develop a clear and comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets in the US, and moving away from an enforcement-centric approach to the one that provides clarity and fosters innovation. And last but not least, excuse me, the SEC has also recently dismissed high-profile lawsuits against major cryptocurrency platforms and exchanges. It also agreed in principle to dismiss its lawsuits against Coinbase, which is one of the largest exchanges in the world right now. And the SEC also concluded its investigation into Robinhood crypto trading division without pursuing any enforcement action, signaling basically a more lenient regulatory approach under the current administration. So all those events mark a vital stage in terms of regulations and further adoption for the years to come. And the US has not been the only country working on establishing a more crypto-friendly regulations and seeing more value in establishing Bitcoin as a reserve. Countries, for example, like the UK, El Salvador, belong to the top countries that use Bitcoin as a reserve at the moment. And then back to the US right now, we can see on the right-hand side the positive developments towards basically the regulations. You will have, or you can see there that more than 30 states filed official bills proposing to allocate a portion of their reserve into Bitcoin. While acceptance and passing of such bills to become a policy may take a lot of time. It just underscores the increased interest and traction of Bitcoin as an asset, but also underscores the relevance of other coins in the market, like the so-called altcoins, which, for example, Ethereum, Solana, and other assets belong to. Bitcoin, as of today, is considered as the seventh largest assets in the world, outpacing recently Facebook and Silver, among others, and well-known institutions such as BlackRock, Grayscale, Fidelity. They launched their own Bitcoin ETFs earlier in 2024, and this contributed to also significant inflows. To mention also, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF surpassed its gold ETF in terms of market cap, which was launched in 2005. And to date, the market cap of all Bitcoin ETFs reached more than $110 billion. And beyond Bitcoin ETFs, we expect that there are more ETFs to come for the altcoins, for example, like Solana, Polkadot, among others. So now that we tapped into the market development and opportunities that are ahead, I would like to shed some light on advanced blockchain role in the industry. Our company was established in 2017, and since then, our focus has been on incubations and investments. We have been primarily involved in early stage projects, either by incubating our own projects, such as Panoptic, Peak, and you can see from the right-hand side here, those are companies that were incubated by Advanced Blockchain, or basically getting early access in leading protocols, such as Polkadot, which I will elaborate on about it in terms of numbers and how profitable such an investment was. And beyond being involved in those projects, basically we have held historically Bitcoin and other major blue chip tokens. And blue chip tokens are any other tokens, or like the blockchain, the blue chip tokens are the top crypto tokens in the market, basically. So as part of our new strategy, we are revisiting this revisiting to establish also our own reserve of those altcoins, on also Bitcoin, which is Mike will shed some light on later on in his part of the presentation. So yeah, notable industry VCs that we invested with include like Polychain Capital, Blockchain Capital, Binance Labs, and all those VCs have a multi-billion-dollar portfolio. And our portfolio as of today is quite diverse. We started primarily to invest in infrastructure, or the so-called like DePIN. This stands for decentralized physical infrastructure networks. And basically later on, we started to also invest in decentralized finance, privacy, and interoperability, among others. And one of our key incubations project is Peak, which is like a protocol in the field of IoT and decentralized infrastructure. And I usually call Peak as the backbone of the machine economy through its role in providing the essential infrastructure for applications like Silencio. This is just one example of a project built on Peak, and Peak provides a relevant infrastructure for. So Silencio is an app recording noise pollution data, and what Silencio does is that it offers its community and applications that they can use to share noise pollution data. So they act as data providers, and Silencio aggregates this data and then store it in the data warehouse, sell it then later on to data buyers, which are like data aggregators and hotel booking services, and they basically sell it to those large enterprises, and Peak comes into place here to provide the relevant infrastructure to enable Silencio to operate in a decentralized manner. And this is just one example of a use case. As you can see from the Peak ecosystem map, we have, as of today, more than 40 projects, more than 40 DPINs built on Peak, and large enterprises such as Deutsche Telekom, Lufthansa, Bosch, they are already collaborating with Peak and running their own nodes, which enables further adoption to the technology that Peak is building. Advanced Blockchain holds 2.1% of Peak tokens. We have 88 million Peak tokens, which are worth $14 million as of today. And in Q4 2024 alone, the value of those tokens was actually 50 million. But since it's a highly volatile market, the value can significantly change in such a short time frame. So we are the largest equity, we're one of the largest equity and token holders in the project. And Peak launched in Q4 last year, and they reached more than $1 billion in fully diluted valuation directly after the launch, and the value of the devices that are actually operating is around the same number. So yeah, Peak is not the only incubation project. We have also other examples such as Quasar, and it's a DeFi protocol. It's involved in the DeFi protocol. We have exited the project in 2022, and we made around $4.5 million in profit by selling the IP tokens and also from the services that we provided for the incubations. And over the years, we have built a solid track record with deal sourcing and investing in early stage projects. As I mentioned earlier, Polkadot was the first investment of the company where we invested $50,000, and leading then later on to realizing a profit of 5 million. This was basically from the token sale and also staking activities. And along the same line, we have now Peak tokens, which we are actually actively staking, and we are generating every month around 220,000 Peak tokens, and their value is in the range of $30,000 to $55,000 every month. There are other projects displayed that are also great examples where we had an average multiple of 17x, and we have exited those positions over the past 2 years. So to conclude, before we dive into the strategy, I personally consider advanced blockchain as the bridge to Web3 for institutional investors who are not familiar with this new sector. I would say relatively new sector, because I still believe we are quite early. And this is because of several reasons. We have been early in investing and identifying high growth verticals in sectors like DeFi, DePIN. Have built a strong track record by building also multi-billion-dollar companies such as Peak. And we have a rich network of fellow investors that we co-invest with. And last but not least, a diversified portfolio of over or more than 30 companies right now. I've touched base on what has been happening in the industry, what we have been doing in the past years, and now I would hand over to my colleague Mike to give an update on the new group strategy and the exciting opportunities that lie ahead.
All righty. So thanks, Matthias, for organizing this event, and thanks, Hatem, for this review and the output or basically the review of on our company that you just presented. It's now my intention to outline to you the future strategic steps of advanced blockchain. As you possibly might know, Hatem and I have just taken over our board positions in August and November 2024, respectively. When we first thought about developing the new corporate strategy, we were reflecting on the company's recent history, meaning, as Hatem just outlined, meaning its long-standing expertise as being a profitable investor in the Web3 blockchain sector, and what we can learn from that. Secondly, we thought about the market trends and how we can best benefit from it. And thirdly, we questioned ourselves what we have to do to improve the perception of Advanced Blockchain AG. All in all, this can be easily summarized under our strategic objectives, meaning rebuild credibility, which is our top priority these days. So meaning rebuild credibility both into the ABAC brand as well as into the company's governance and its people. Secondly, we aim to become the go-to place partner for investors which want exposure to international superior technological protocols in the Web3 and blockchain space. And thirdly, we want to close the gap between the company's net asset value and the company's capital market valuation. Because simply, and I will come to that a bit later, it's simply not understandable why we are valued with currently just, let's say, something like 15 million euros of market cap, while our underlying portfolio has a value which is significantly higher than that. So maybe if we move to the next page, Hatem. All this one can be summarized under our mission statement, meaning growth, diversification, transparency, and compliance. Or in other words, we'd like advanced blockchain to be the gateway to blockchain and Web3 technology investments, but in a transparent and in a compliant way. And I'm sure, and I'm very certain, this will happen based on the company's long-lasting experience in this market, actually since 2017, and its broad international network. So next page, Hatem, maybe page 18, right. So our new business model will be based on 4 strategic pillars. First one, and Hatem also elaborated on that a bit earlier, early stage investments in fast-growing verticals such as decentralized finance, DeFi, real-world assets, and currently, most importantly, DePIN, meaning decentralized physical infrastructure networks, as outlined by Hatem earlier on when he referred to Peak. These are all areas which we know best, where we have a broad international target and investor network, and where we understand the technological protocols behind that. We intend to monetize on our investments within a 3 to 5 year time horizon. Secondly, active treasury management. Well, you might ask yourself, why should treasury be part of a company's strategy? And the answer is because it wasn't simply in the past. We aim to monetize our holdings much faster, much more professionally, and with higher returns. And we intend to increase the liquidity ratio of our portfolio significantly, with a clear objective to ensure stable returns and to maintain sufficient liquidity reserves also in a bearish market. And I mean, if you have seen where the Bitcoin is today, it's quite important that you can rely on a partner who is managing its liquidity and its treasury very actively. So thirdly, as we have successfully demonstrated with the tremendous success of Peak, we are really, and I mean really good in incubation and venture building. While the company had downsized these activities in the recent past, we aim to carefully nurture this, meaning supporting, building, and creating synergies within our network. And finally, strategic consultancy. We will be offering expert service in portfolio management via our Swiss platform ABX Analytics, which will be revived in 2025, and other financial solutions. We understand the crypto and blockchain market dynamics. We have long-lasting experience and a broad international network. So summarizing all this, we aim to create recurring revenues, earlier and higher monetization, and we aim to intensify the connections, relationships between our investment. And all these strategic features complement each other. For us, this is a very important factor. Next one. Leaner organizational structure. We have been criticized for our somehow complex and intransparent corporate structure, and rightly so. This will be addressed, or actually is already going to be addressed. Going forward, we will reduce the complexity of the group, and hereby aiming to increase transparency for investors, reducing general G&A or general administration expenses, and enabling the group to better address our strategic objectives, such as early stage investments, incubation, consultancy, and financial services. We are progressing with our work on this and aim to halve the number of entities throughout this year. I mean, just to be precise, we have about 10 entities, and we are currently in the process of analyzing and to some extent already starting liquidate some of the dormant or non-necessary entities within the group. And what's even more important, we are globally active, not only with our investments only, but also with our operations, i.e., we are based in Cyprus, in Dubai, in Switzerland, and of course in Germany. So truly globally, truly focused. Next page, please, Harten. So liquidity outlook. When analyzing the value of our portfolio, we figured out that the ratio of liquid to illiquid assets is rather distorted. However, illiquidity does not mean that those assets cannot be monetized. That is certainly not the case. It just takes longer and maybe a higher discount. We aim to improve the relative liquidity within our portfolio from currently 8% of our total holdings to above 30% by end of 2025. We have set ourselves clear liquidity targets, and we will manage our portfolio much more actively with a clear monetization and value objective. And we will further diversify revenue streams, hereby minimizing any sporadic, ad hoc, illiquid asset sales at a higher discount, which is what basically happened in the past. So we are very certain that this will give our shareholders and creditors comfort about the company's financial situation and future financial flexibility. Next, please. So to give you a snapshot about our value creation expertise, our investments at acquisition costs, so according to German GAAP, account for circa 7 million of initial expense. External partners such as AVS Valuation and also GBC Equity Research assess the value of our holdings, excluding FinPro, where we have an equity stake, at almost 41 million at the end of at almost 41 million as of 30th of June 2024, meaning a multiplier of 6.5 times. This also indicates that there are significant silent value reserves within or hidden value reserves within our portfolio once the asset is disposed. We are currently in the process of obtaining an updated external valuation assessment of our non-listed holdings. And please be aware that those 41 million that you see there are before the token generation event of peak that took place in November last year. Next page, once again. So our future investment thesis. We have identified up to 6 core verticals where we believe most value for investors and the company will be created. These have been mentioned earlier on, and they are again mentioned here. DePIN, meaning decentralized physical infrastructures. Interoperability, meaning is there a common language between various blockchains? Artificial intelligence, real-world assets, next level of Bitcoin protocols, meaning layer 2, and modular blockchains. And what is even more important, we will complement this future targeted investments by further liquid blue chip investments, such as into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the proceeds and synergies within our existing portfolio. We aim to offer investors an attractive investment route into the crypto and blockchain market via multiple highways. So our projected financial group targets for 2025, we have identified three key finance factors that determine the value of the advanced blockchain stock. And that is revenue from sales, focus on new investments and incubations, and the minimum cash position. A focus on just revenue, just EBIT or EBITDA, or indirect revenues of our holdings simply don't make sense for the valuation of the company. As you can see from this chart, we aim to become increasingly active in 2025 on all aspects, and hereby providing investors both an attractive outlook into the future, but also comfort as to the financial situation of the group. And quite honestly, we are confident to achieve these objectives as outlined here. So if you allow me to conclude this presentation, we aim for flexibility and certainty. We will rely on our long-lasting expertise and our broad network, and some of our network partners, meaning also the members of our supervisory board, are displayed here. We aim for a solid, compliant fundament for future growth and value creation, a basis which is properly governed and compliant with regulations. We are a small team with only minimum overhead costs, but with a broad experience, and even more importantly, with a clear drive to bring the value of the company onto a new level, to participate in early investments, to identify attractive and clever ways of value and revenue generation. And we know we can rely on our network also in the supervisory board. With this, Hartem and I are asking for your support and trust into the company. And I see that some of the participants in this call are also shareholders in our company already, and we're thankful for that. So we're asking for your support and trust into the company. We very much welcome any question, but also any hint and relationship inroad and intro into the attractive investment opportunities. So now it's time for Q&A.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Hartem. We already have a couple of questions in the chat. So first of all, do you work together with Tokentus or CoinX in some of your participations, or are these pure competitors?
Well, I always believe in blue ocean strategy, meaning you always find ways to work with competitors. So to outline, we have invested recently part of our staking rewards from Peak in Ex Machina, and Ex Machina is, I mean, CoinIX has invested also with Ex Machina. I'm in very close communication with Omri, the CIO of CoinIX. When it comes to Tokentos, I met Lisa from their team in a global blockchain congress in Dubai last month. So as I mentioned earlier, blue ocean strategy, find ways to work with competitors and learning from each other and developing together. So I don't see it really as competitor. We have to work against each other, but rather work together.
Then there is a question regarding the Peak tokens, where you have about 88 millions. Do you plan to monetize these, or will you hold on to them?
Of course, because you will have a centralization risk. You have one asset that contributes to a significant value of your portfolio, and right now this is highly risky to maintain. So right now we are checking opportunities either by OTC deals with not a significant discount, because usually OTC deals can go up to 70 or 60% of discounts, which is something we will never accept, as this is not really beneficial for our shareholders. We are checking right now covered calls to also basically monetize before the token unlocks that is planned for August. But once we come to have the first unlocks in August up to the 36 months ahead, which will be 2028, we plan to take part of our Peak position, monetize it, and put part of this capital in blue chip tokens, and then diversify the portfolio further. And there will be a part that will be also reinvested in other early stage projects. We have a concrete plan on how we will do that, because right now, as I mentioned, we have very high risk in having a big high bet on one asset, even though the portfolio is still diverse. You have interesting projects like Panoptic, you have Polymer, you have many other interesting portfolio companies, but still it's a very good question, and we are working on that together with management team and the supervisory board. Yeah.
So we have only 30 seconds left. Maybe can you wrap it up with what's the investment case for advanced blockchain, but try to keep it really short.
What was the question again? Sorry, one more time.
The investment case for advanced blockchain, 30 seconds. Why to invest? Because time is running out.
Why to invest? Because we make it easier to do all the due diligence for you. If you are not familiar with this sector, we have all the know-how. We have a proven track record to find those early stage opportunities. I would love to have 1 minute or 2 minutes to elaborate more, but we have 30 seconds only. But happy to chat directly and have a call later on virtually, to meet also offline.
Thank you so much. Yes, too bad the time is already up. That was Advanced Blockchain AG. Thank you, Hartem. Thank you, Mike.
More than welcome. Thanks for having us.
Bye.